Hi, this is Dale Guiducci with ERA Credit Services, and if you're looking for ways to improve your credit score fast, in other words, as rapidly as possible, I've got 4 ways that can help you do that. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So 4 ways to help you build your credit score fast. Now, there's a lot of ways to do it, but I've got 4 ways that are simple and things that you can do right away to help build your credit score. Now, whether you're trying to rebuild score from past mishaps, or you just need a boost, right? You just need a boost to be able to qualify for a mortgage, as an example, or a small business loan. But before we get into that, you've got to understand a little bit about how credit scores are calculated. A lot of people think it's just about negative items versus positive items on your credit report, and that's a big factor. It's called payment history. It's 35% of your credit score, but that means that there's 2/3 of your credit score that's predicated on other categories. So what are they? 30% are amounts owed. So we want to talk about that, amounts owed, and we'll break that down for you here in a second. 15% is the length of your credit history, 10% is new credit, and 10% is types of credit. So that makes up the 100% of your credit score. So to only focus on negative items or just payment history isn't really focusing on 100% of your credit score. We're going to talk about 100% of your credit score as we move through this video. Okay, so the first thing that I would recommend to anybody, and it's something that my wife and I keep a close watch on for ourselves, is about the amount of debt that we owe compared to our limit, especially on credit cards, right? If you owe too much on your credit cards, in other words, too close to your limit, it's costing you credit score. The more you owe to your limit, the less credit worthy you become, according to the credit bureaus, in the way that they score your credit score. So you got to pay attention to that. So what's the rule of thumb? The rule of thumb is you want to keep your amount owed 30% or less of your limit. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a $5,000 limit on your credit card. 30% of $5,000 is what? $5,000 is what? $1,500, let's say, right? So $1,500. If you owe $4,500, you're way over that 30%. So even though you're making your monthly minimum payment, or even more than a minimum payment on your credit card, if you're way over that 30%, you're costing yourself credit score. So here's what I would do. Here's what my recommendation is: that you get out all your credit card statements, whether you got 2 cards, 3 cards, 5 cards. Some people have 10 cards. It's a bit much, to be honest. I wouldn't close those accounts right now if you have that many, because that'll hurt your credit score. But I wouldn't use 10 credit cards, right? But most people have a few credit card accounts. I would get those accounts out, those statements, and I would see what is the percentage of my limit. First of all, what is your limit? And then calculate what you owe to that limit. Is it 30% or more? Okay. If it's not, good for you. If it is, you got a challenge here, and we're going to try to overcome that challenge. So let's say all 3 of your credit cards that you have are over that 30% limit. Which one should you start paying down to under 30% as soon as possible? Great question, isn't it? You might think, well, I should pay all of them down. If you can afford to, do that. But let's say you could only afford to pay 1 down, meaning more than your minimum monthly payment. The other 2, you just got to make the minimum monthly payment. Which one should you start paying down? It's the one with the highest interest rate. Okay, you might have a credit card with an 18% interest rate, one with a 14% interest rate, and one with a 12% interest rate. Pay the 18% down. Why? Because that's costing you more every single month in your payment in interest. In other words, let's say you write a check for $200 to that credit card balance. More of that $200 is going to interest on that particular credit card. So pay that one down first. So you're saving yourself some money, in addition to the fact that you're bringing it down under that 30% limit. But your goal is to bring all of your credit cards down under 30%. And what will you see? You'll see an increase in credit score. Okay, the second way, and this is something you can do right away as well, is there's a new trend with the credit bureaus, not all of them, just Equifax and TransUnion, unfortunately. Experian doesn't play in this game, but Equifax and TransUnion do. And it's being able to get your rent. If you're a renter, if you're not a renter, this won't work for you. But if you're a renter, you can get your monthly rent reported on your TransUnion and Equifax credit report every single month. Okay, that is amazing because typically it's your number one expense, right? You probably spend more on your rent than you do on car, groceries, or anything else that you pay on a monthly basis, right? So that's your highest expense, and getting it reported on your credit report does what? Well, it shows new credit. Remember, we talked about the fact that new credit is part of your credit score. It's going to show credit history because we can actually get up to 24 months of previous payments put on your credit report. That's right. So you could start today moving forward, but you can actually go back up to 24 months. That's showing payment history. That's awesome because that is going to affect that category as well. And it's also going to affect the types of credit because that's a new type of credit that you now have on your credit report. So that in effect is going to impact 35% of your credit score by having rent reported on your credit report. Now I'm going to put a link below because we have different programs for people that are single, people that are, if you have a roommate, you can participate with your roommate or a significant other or a spouse. So you could do it as a couple, if you will, with, again, a roommate, a significant other, or a spouse, or you could do it as an individual, and you could do it this month moving forward. You could go back 12 months, or you could go back 24 months. So I'm going to put a link in the description. If you want to take a look at our program, I'll give you a link right to that webpage. You can watch a video about it and see if it's something you want to participate in. It's something that I do. My wife and I rent our home. Absolutely, we have that on our TransUnion and Equifax credit reports. So awesome program. I'll share with you exactly how to do it. But that is a way to increase your credit score, number 2. Okay, if you need to increase your credit score as much as possible and do it as soon as possible, consider a credit builder loan. Now these loans are fairly new, but they're very legal, and the companies that do them, or at least the company I'm going to recommend, and I'll put a link in the description below this video that I recommend that you do it with, very reputable company and so forth, very above board. But a credit builder loan, it's something like that you could take out $1,000 personal loan with this company, and they understand you're trying to build credit, so they're not looking for huge credit scores, and pay back that loan with the amount that you borrowed. So in other words, let's say you get a $1,000 loan, you put it in the bank, and each month over the course of a year, you pay it back. Now it is going to cost you 10%. I'm not sure the interest rate they charge, but it's fair. Let's say it's 10%. So 10% of $1,000 is $100. So over the course of a year, through payments, paying it back, it's going to cost you maybe $100, but it's well worth it if you want to increase your credit score. And of course, these credit builder loans report to all 3 credit bureaus. So in other words, it's new type of credit, or new credit, it's a new type of credit, and it's showing history. So it's going to help you improve your credit score in all 3 of those categories. That's step number 4, that's number 3, the third way to help increase your credit score. Now, number 4 is actually looking at your credit reports and seeing what negative items you may have on there that can be removed pretty quickly, because sometimes some negative items can be removed and in fact need to be removed by law because they're obsolete or they're not accurate. But even ones that aren't obsolete and are accurate are not verifiable by the original creditor or the creditor of record right now. So they can be removed right away. So you want to look at your credit reports. Now, how do you do that? Well, the credit bureaus by law must give each of us as consumers 1 free copy of our credit report every single year. Now, and I'll put the link to this in the description of this video here on YouTube or on our blog post. You'll see it on our blog post for sure as well. Go to annualcreditreport.com. Annual, ANNUAL, creditreport.com. And all 3 credit bureaus are there. You don't have to get all 3. If you're going to get just one, get your Experian report, because typically if you've got a negative item, it's on your Experian report. and look there and see what kind of negative items that you have. And then you may need us at that point. So you may see some negative items there that you're thinking, wow, if I can get those off, my credit score will increase. Give us a call and we'll talk about those negative items, because certain types of negative items it can come off right away. They have a high probability of being removed. And some negative items, and we'll be telling you about this, they have a low probability of coming off. But at least go to our website, book a phone appointment with us, and we'll have a chat about the negative items you have on your credit report and see if we can get some of those negative items off right away. And we'll be upfront and honest with you to let you know, hey, this one's going to take some time. This one we've seen, this type of item we've seen get removed right away. So that's number 4 in the 4 ways of improving your credit score. So hopefully you got some value out of this. If you did, like the video, perhaps that would be awesome. And obviously subscribe to the channel, because we come out with videos like this all the time. In fact, we've got some great videos on our channel from the 8 years that I've been in this business, sharing with people how they can develop good, positive credit habits and keep the best credit score that they possibly can. Have yourself a great rest of your day. I love the fact that you were here watching our video. And again, hope you got some great value. Take good care. Bye now.